Very good morning, students. Welcome to your science class 7th. Today we are continuing with chapter number 17, Forest, Our Lifeline. I hope you all have done your holidays homework properly and submitted within the given time. Also, we have already discussed about our final term syllabus, so we are continuing with chapter number 17 only, Forest, Our Lifeline. We have to start from activity 17.2. So, visit a forest or a park in your neighborhood and observe the trees and try to identify them. You can take the help of your elders also, or you can read some books on trees. You have to list the characteristics of the trees, what you observe. That is, what kind of a height they have, what is the shape of the leaves, whether they are crowned or not. They have flowers and fruits also. You can draw some crowns of some trees. Can you see here in image 17.6 we can see these are different type of trees. They have different shapes of leaves. Some have crowns, some are blunt or round. Can you see? So these are known as some of the crown shapes. Coming back to the activity. So Professor Ahmed pointed out that the trees had crowns of different type and sizes. These had created different horizontal layers in the forest. So if some trees are tall, so they are on the upper layer, and some are short, so they have created a bottom layer of the layers in the forest. So these are known as understories. So giant and tall trees constituted the top layer, which is followed by shrubs and tall trees, whereas the herbs form the lowest layer. सो वी वुड सी सम सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ ट्रीज इन एवरी फॉरेस्ट. हर फॉरेस्ट में ऐसे अलग अलग टाइप के ट्रीज होते हैं. बूझो आस्क्ड. सो प्रोफेसर रिप्लाइड दैट नो, ड्यू टू सम डिफरेंट क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशंस, because there are variation in different type of trees and other plants, so the type of the animals also differ from forest to forest. It doesn't depend upon that ki every forest will have a same kind of trees, same kind of forest layer and the same kind of animals. It depends upon the climatic conditions, so there are variation in forest as well as in the animals also. Coming to the next page, few children were busy watching some beautiful butterflies that are fluttering here and there on the flowers of the shrubs and herbs. So they had a close look at the bushes also. While doing that, their hair and clothes had seeds. जब कुछ बच्चे butterflies को observe कर रहे थे, they were looking at some butterflies which were roaming here and there on the shrubs and herbs. So उनमें से कुछ की bushes जो उनके hairs के साथ और उनके clothes के साथ जो seeds थे, वो अटैच हो गए एंड द शर्प्स वर क्लिंगिंग टू देम. और जो शर्प्स थी उनके कपड़ों के साथ क्लिंग हो गई, मतलब अटैच हो गई. सो दे केम अक्रॉस न्यूमरस इंसेक्ट्स ऑल्सो. उन्होंने वहाँ पे बहुत सारे इंसेक्ट्स देखे, स्पाइडर्स देखी, स्क्विरल्स, एंड्स एंड वेरियस अदर एनिमल्स, स्मॉल अदर एनिमल्स ऑल्सो. ऑन द बार्क ऑफ द ट्रीज दे सॉ some plants leaves and on decaying leaves on the forest floor, और कुछ decaying leaves forest floor के अंदर भी देखी उन्होंने. They started making the sketches of these creatures. उन्होंने उनके sketches बनाए and the forest floor seemed some dark colored and was covered with a layer of dead and decaying leaves, fruits, seeds, twigs and small herbs. जो forest का floor था वो किन किन चीज़ों से cover था? Dead and decaying leaves से, कुछ fruit seeds से, ट्विग्स एंड स्मॉल हर्ब्स. ट्विग्स हम उसको कहते हैं जो छोटी छोटी पतली पतली टहनियाँ होती हैं प्लांट्स की, उनको हम ट्विग्स कहते हैं. द डिकेइंग मैटर वॉज मॉइस्ट एंड वार्म. जो डिकेइंग मैटर था वहाँ पे जो डिके हो रहा था, डेड एंड डिकेइंग मैटर वॉज मॉइस्ट एंड वार्म. सो चिल्ड्रन पिक्ड अप द वेरियस सीड्स एंड लीव्स फॉर देयर कलेक्शन. तो उन्होंने वहाँ से कुछ सीड्स और लीव्स जो अपनी कलेक्शन के लिए रख लिए. वाइल वॉकिंग ओवर द डेड एंड लीफ लेयर ऑन द फॉरेस्ट फ्लोर, इट वॉज लाइक वॉकिंग ऑन अ स्पॉन्जी कारपेट. जब वो उस डेड और डिकेइंग लेयर के ऊपर चल रहे थे फॉरेस्ट की फ्लोर पे, तो वो एक स्पॉन्जी कारपेट की तरह उनको दिखा. सो द क्वेश्चन अराइजेज, इज द डिकेइंग मैटर ऑलवेज वार्म? क्या ये हमेशा ही ऐसा वार्म लगता है? सो वॉट डज द professor replied to the children said this, he said that he could perform an activity to get an answer to these questions. So let's learn about this activity in activity 17.3. We will dig a small pit. उन्होंने एक छोटा pit को dig किया and put some vegetable waste and leaves in it and cover that with them with soil. Add some water to it and after 3 days they remove the upper layer. उन्होंने उसकी upper layer को remove किया. डज द पिट फील वार्म इनसाइड, क्या वही पिट उसके अंदर वार्मनेस थी? सो पहेली आज द प्रोफेसर दैट देर आर सो मैनी ट्रीज हेयर, कि यहाँ पर बहुत सारे ट्रीज हैं और ये बहुत सारे फॉरेस्ट में भी ट्रीज होते हैं. सो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस, व्हाट इट इज मेकिंग दैट इफ़ वी कट सम पार्ट ऑफ द ट्रीज फॉर अ फैक्ट्री? तो उसने कहा कि यहाँ पे भी ट्रीज हैं और बाकी जगह भी बहुत सारे ट्रीज होंगे फॉरेस्ट में, तो क्या हम थोड़े से ट्रीज कट करके यहाँ पे फैक्ट्री नहीं बना सकते? So Professor Ahmed said that you have read about autotrophs, heterotrophs and saprotrophs. Yes, you people have also read about these three type of nutrition. So we have learned that how green plant produce their food. That is by the process of photosynthesis. All the animals, whether they are herbivorous or carnivorous, they depend upon the plants for the food. So organisms which feed on the plants often get eaten by other organisms. जो plants पे feed करते हैं उनको बाकी organisms खा लेते हैं, and so on. So this is an example where grass is eaten by some insects, which in turn is taken by the frog. So and the frog is then consumed by the snake. So it is said that it comes under the food chain. Grass is eaten by the insects and those insects are eaten by the frog. Frog itself is a food for snake and then snake is eaten by eagle. So this is the food chain. So there are many food chains that can be found in the forest also. All these food chains are linked to each other. If any one food chain is disturbed, it affects the other food chain also. So every part of the forest is dependent on other parts. If we disturb one part of the forest, one food chain, it is automatically going to disturb the other food chain. So if we remove one component, we say trees, we are removing, as explained by Paheli, and she's asking the professor, if we remove the forest and we put some factories over there, so if we remove one component, all other components will be affected. Fine. So Professor Ahmed asked the children to pick up the leaves from the forest floor and observe them under a hand lens. So they would find tiny mushrooms over them of decaying leaves, and they also saw an army of tiny insects, millipedes, ants and beetle on them. उन leaves के ऊपर ये सारे tiny insects भी थे. So they were wondering about that how these organisms live there, कि ये कैसे रहते हैं यहाँ पे, खाना कैसे खाते हैं. So professor explained that apart from these animals which can be seen easily in the forest, there are several other organisms and microorganisms that live in the soil. So Paheli was wondering that what mushroom and other microorganisms will eat. So Professor replied that they feed upon the dead plants and animals, tissues, and convert them into a dark colored substance which we called as humus. Humus is a dark colored substance. So we have already learned about humus in chapter number 9 also. So what is the importance of that for the soil, we already know. So the microorganisms which convert the dead plants and animals to humus are also known as decomposers. Please underline this definition of decomposers. The microorganisms which convert the dead and decaying plants and animals to humus are known as decomposers. So these microorganisms play an important role in the forest also. So the Paheli removed some of the dead decaying leaves and discovered under them that a layer of humus is found on the forest floor, and the presence of humus ensures that the nutrients of dead plants and animals are released into the soil. Because of the humus, the nutrients are in the soil only. From there, these nutrients are again absorbed by the roots of the living plants. So what happens if the animal dies in the forest? Another student asked. So Tibu, which was a person who was a tribal person, he replied that the dead animals become the food for vulture, crows, jackals and insects. So in this way the nutrients are recycled and nothing goes waste in a forest. Forest में कुछ भी waste नहीं जाता. So Paheli reminded Professor Ahmed that he had not explained that to them why forests are called green lungs. Professor Ahmed, initially in the starting of the journey, he said that forests are called the green lungs. So now he is going to explain the students why he said that. So professor explained that the plants release oxygen through the process of photosynthesis, and the plant help them to provide oxygen for animal respiration also. and they also maintain the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So these are basically the three reasons that is why forests are called lungs. This is important question, please underline this. Next we have class. Next paragraph, the children saw clouds forming in the sky. So Bujo recalled that why he had learnt about the water cycle in class 6. So trees take in water from their roots and release water vapor. Trees कहाँ से पानी लेते हैं? रूट से लेते हैं अपने, और वाटर वेपर से रिलीज करते हैं एयर में थ्रू इवापोरेशन प्रोसेस. If there are few trees only, so how will the water cycle be affected? So Tibu told to them that the forest is not just a home to plants and animals, कि forest सिर्फ plants और animals का ही घर नहीं है, बहुत से ऐसे लोग हैं जो forest में रहते हैं. So they are, some of them belongs to different tribes also. So Tibu explained to them that these peoples depend mostly on the forest, and the forest provides them, coming to the next page, with food, shelter, water, and medicines also. They have a traditional knowledge about many medicinal plants in the forest. So while Bujo was drinking water from a small stream, he saw some deers also which is crossing the stream. So they disappeared into the bushes. So the dense bushes and the tall trees provide animals with their food and shelter. And they also protect them from the carnivorous animals in the which live in the forest. So this is all for today's class. Do your question answers neatly and properly in your notebook. I'm sending you the PDF file along with the video. I hope you are doing your work properly. Thank you and have a nice day.